Alright, what is up, you beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Mechabellum Mythbusters. You're probably going to hear me say this, what is up, you beautiful people, twice, because, well, on the first run of the video, I realized, wow, one thing I should have established is a baseline of how good Stormcallers are, and their counters are. Sorry, so we're testing out the missile interception capacities of all the units that exist with missile interception, as well as the missile interceptor turret. So we're gonna run this test first, and then we're gonna get back to all the permutations I've thought of to test it out. So this will probably come in, and then like you're gonna hear me say that "What is up, you beautiful people" again. So congratulations, you guys got 2 "What is up, you beautiful peoples" in a row. So here we're gonna test out exactly 1-to-1, 1 Stormcaller to 1 Stang. How good is the Stang missile interception? So I actually am not sure. If I should test them out directly? Yeah, you know what? A 1-to-1 I think should be okay. So I just want to see how effective it is. So let's see. 1 unit of Stangs here versus 1 unit of Stormcallers. Hey, that's really effective. I didn't realize Stangs were that effective. I guess they were a little better here. Okay, so Stangs will prioritize shooting down the missiles first. And ooh. Well, clearly, 1 Stang into 1 Stormcaller, the Stang cannot destroy it. So that was an interesting test, actually. I learned something about that. Okay, so what if the Stangs were guarding a unit? So let's say the Stangs were guarding, let's say for both sides, the Stangs were guarding a Fang. But hold on, I want to see if anything else, like if this thing gets range, does that change anything? Does that change anything? I don't think it changes anything, but let's just check. If the Stormcallers have range, does that change anything? Bam, 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 bam. Nope. Okay, so the Stangs can eliminate the first volley, like, very nicely. Ooh, the Stangs can eliminate... So with range, actually, the Stangs do better? Oh my god. Okay. Oh, but if the Stangs even get hit by 1 volley, they are entirely decimated. But the range actually buffs the Stang's interception capacities. So see, these are things we're learning right now. I did not expect that. Okay, so range apparently is actually worse off for your Stormcallers here. Okay, so obviously in a regular fight, you're not just gonna have like a 1-to-1 battle. So, you know, of just Stangs into Stormcaller. So what if both sides had a Fang unit? I'm gonna put the Fang here. And for the Stormcaller guys, I'm gonna put a Fang in front of them as well. Put a Fang unit here. And just for the true blind test here, we're just going to eliminate that for now. And then we'll test the range. So let's say your Fang unit, like you're trying to guard this Fang unit and they're trying to like fight the other Fang unit. And yeah, what happens with the Mustangs? Because Mustangs, they might prioritize the wrong things. So here we go. Mustangs are going to clear it out. Ooh, okay. Actually not able to clear it out so nicely here. The Fang's getting taken out. Mustang's still defending. Okay, so Mustang's actually doing a good job defending here. They're going to defend once again. Ooh, okay. Okay, Stormcaller's getting eliminated. Wow. A single Fang survived. Okay, so if they're guarding a unit, that doesn't seem to be that effective. Okay. Like the first initial volley, a Mustang can fend it off. Okay, but what if on this side, these guys have extended range again? So I just want to see what that looks like here. So let's check it out. So I think with extended range, actually, the Stangs are supposedly better. There we go. They're going to knock those rockets out of the sky here. And these Fangs are going to fight each other. Except one of the Fangs are backed up by Mustangs. Okay. And he's going to pull up here. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, that's a pretty big volley there. Do they actually win against this? Ooh. Oh my god. They might actually win against this. So with Stormcallers, it might actually be a bad thing to get range. Wow. That is something I didn't realize. Getting range on Stormcallers actually nerfs them against missile interception. That is insane. I would never have thought that. This is actually a bad upgrade. Okay, so now that we've tested the effectiveness of the Stang, we're going to switch over and test the next thing that I wanted to see. How effective is the Sabertooth? Alright, so I've reset things here. We got one Sabertooth, one Stormcaller. I think Sabertooths are not nearly as effective as Stangs, but it's good to establish a baseline. So let's see it. They still have the same interception range as a Stang, but I'm actually kind of curious. And this is also the same. Ooh. Okay, so a Sabertooth intercepts about half of the missiles here. And... ooh, okay, but the Sabertooth is going to eliminate these guys. And I think unlike the Stangs, the Sabertooths have the health to just go toe-to-toe and destroy the Stormcaller here. So that was very interesting. Okay, so let's switch it up here. Let's see if... what if the Stormcaller had extended range? I just realized with Launcher Overload, maybe that could be interesting to investigate as well. Ah, we got to go back and test the Stangs. Okay, so let's see here. So with extended range, what'll happen here? What's going to happen? Okay, so the Sabertooth lets in around the same amount of rockets, but it takes very little damage from the first volley in comparison to the second volley. Second volley kind of drops it to around the same. See, the good thing is the Sabertooth can fire while it's shooting this thing, while it's shooting its missile defense. So actually, against the Sabertooth, the extended range, I think, did slightly better. Interesting. Okay. So now what I'm really curious about, which we got to go back and test with the Stangs, not a big deal, is what if instead of range we had Launcher Overload? This reduces the range, but maybe it's helpful to overwhelm some units. So if you have Launcher Overload, right, this means there's rockets coming out twice as fast. But they have to get in closer. Ooh, okay. Wow! See, but here's the thing. The Launcher Overload? Ooh. Launcher Overload is insane. Okay, we need to test this with the Stangs as well. Okay, well, okay. Normally, we're not just going to drive up here, you know, once again. So we're gonna send out a unit of Fangs. And then have the Fangs fight each other here. I'm going to reset it back to true neutral again. Oh, man, but that's super... I might have to do, like, a two... Nah, this is not going to be a two-part video. This is going to be a 1-hour video. We love 1-hour videos. So, we're going to have the Fangs here. We're going to have the Sabertooth in the back. And we've got these reset to neutral. How does that work? I'm going to have to, like... I'm definitely going to have to, like, link, like, a Google Sheet after this. Okay. Ooh, devastation on the Fangs here. Ah, but as you can see here, well, let's see. The Sabertooth did significantly worse in comparison to the Stang. Like 1 unit per 1 unit. And let's see. Oh my god. Sabertooth's still alive, but barely. He's hanging in there. Okay, interesting. I mean, to be fair, I don't think... I think, like, the most noticeable effect is with the Sabertooth and the unit of Fangs here. Because I think even with the Stangs couldn't win. Now, with extended range, it basically made it impossible. I think. Extended range actually nerfs the Stormcaller against Stangs. But does it do the same against Sabertooths? Like, when it's Sabertooth and Fang? Because I think the Sabertooth and... I mean, Stang and Fang... It was a big nerf. But wow. It destroyed a lot of the units in front of the Sabertooth. Ooh, and because I guess... The Fangs are a pretty tough unit for the Sabertooth to chaff clear. I think extended range is actually pretty good if you have stuff in front. Which... I think in most scenarios, you're going to have something in front. But it seems like the Stangs actually do better. But I guess I should also do another test where it's like, instead of a Fang, we're going to have like a meaty unit that a Stang would have a hard time getting through. Which I think would be super obvious. Okay, so now I'm actually kind of curious, like, if instead of this, we had Launcher Overload, what'll happen? Launcher Overload was devastating against the Sabertooth. So I'm assuming with Fangs in front, it would be even more devastating. But I could be wrong. Yep, it's even more devastating. Because you know why? Sabretooth has to clear these fangs. It's stuck clearing fangs. And this barrage is going to take it down. Holy. Launcher overload, multitudes better than the range enhancement there. I learned something. And I hope you did too. Okay, we're going to go and do this test with the Stangs as well. Alright, so we got the Stangs, got the launcher overload. Let's see what happens here. So this is just, you know, 1v1. Oh, see, the Stangs stopped moving. Ooh. 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 Wow. I'm so glad I tested this. Launcher overload is insane against Stangs. If you're up against Stangs, get the launcher overload. Holy. That was nuts. So I feel like range on Stormcallers is like actually one of the worst things you can take based on the performance so far. Now, okay, I want to see what it's like with some Fangs. I think with some Fangs, it's actually going to be like a massacre here. So let me just check that out here. Put some Fangs over here, switch sides, and let's start it out. But that was nuts. So, okay, so I finally figured some things out. I finally understand why range enhancement on Stormcallers is horrible. Okay, so the first volley is super effective, but the second cancellation volley is like not as effective. Because remember, Stangs win this normally if it's the extended range. But with launcher overload, the Stangs do not even have a chance to get close. Look at that. They can't even get close. Oh my god. Damn. Wow, I learned something today. Launcher overload is insane. That's what I learned. Wow, okay. I need to go back and test those permutations again. Okay, next unit up, we have the War Factory. I think in order to fairly test the War Factory, we have to have equivalent resources of Stormcallers. So let's go and do that. Alright, so I think this is probably the fairest test. So a War Factory costs 200 to unlock. It costs 200 to buy the Missile Interceptor upgrade, so that's 400. And the War Factory itself, if I'm not mistaken, is 800. So it's a very, very expensive boy. In total, it costs you 1,200 minerals or supply, and then you have to have a 200 supply maintenance fee as well. So very expensive. On the other side, the Stormcallers cost you 100 to unlock and 200 apiece. So this is 1,100 resources. So I decided to give it like an attack upgrade because I'm pretty sure if the War Factory gets on top of these Stormcallers, they are history anyways. Yeah, Stormcallers are so fragile. They have no health. So here we go. I mean, I'm pretty sure the War Factory will just eat these Stormcallers alive. But I could be surprised. So let's see. I'm learning a lot of new things today. So let's test them all out here. From what I remember, the War Factory is basically invincible. Oh my god, look at those anti-rocket barrages here. Those cannons coming in. Yeah, the War Factory is... Oh, it's not invincible. Look at that, it's taking damage here. The War Factory is nigh invincible, but like the first volley, it eliminates with 100% efficiency. But as there's less and less Stormcallers, it is less and less threatened. Wow. So well, it's a fact. If you really want to get some extensive coverage, you can go for a War Factory. Okay. Now, I want to see if any modifications on the Stormcaller side is going to, you know, change things up here. I mean, granted, you know, this is going to increase the cost of everything and stuff, but now it's just time for science. So we've learned that in range enhancement is absolutely horrendous, but maybe range enhancement is good against the War Factory. Let's see. What does range enhancement do? So well, one thing I know is I should start firing immediately. Look at how effective that interception is, though. It intercepted like 80% of the missiles here. Oh, but this second volley, it did not intercept much. Oh, but now it's on top of the Stormcallers here. Wow, but the Stormcallers with the extra range are pummeling this War Factory. It is taking a lot more damage. So I guess if you're against the War Factory, more range seems to be good. Because I think the initial interception is 100%. And then obviously like the second wave seems to be less. Uh-oh. Wow. Big cannon here. Yeah, I don't think the War Factory is going to lose this one. But that was impressive. The Stormcallers took a huge chunk out of that War Factory. Okay. What if instead of the range enhancement, we got we got launcher overload. Launcher overload is going to reduce our range, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Let's see. What do we got here? Here we go. War Factory is going to go pew 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 pew. Ah, but you see, they have to get so much closer that the War Factory is within firing range on them, and the War Factory has 110 range. The launcher overload is performing about as well as the range enhancement. But I think, no, the range enhancement is actually better against the War Factory. So against the War Factory, you want to get long range missiles. Against the other two, the Stang and the Sabertooth, you want to get this launcher overload. Oh, that is very cool. Okay, now let's... How could I even this out? Am I really going to put a unit of Fangs in the front? Nah. This time we'll put some hammers. So this side will get a hammer. And the other side will also get a hammer. Because I'm pretty sure at this point in the game, like, you know, you probably have a hammer here. Oh, but it's gonna... I shouldn't change any variables. Okay, I don't want to change any variables. We're gonna have to stick with the Fangs. I'm sorry, guys, for science. Because otherwise, like, what if the hammers actually just are better, you know? So let's just go back to just vanilla Fangs. Delete this unit here. There we go. Put down another unit of Fangs. There we go. So that it's like a true, like, you know, true control group is the Fangs. So now we're gonna have the Fangs in front. Oh, but we'll test this part later. We'll test this part later. Okay, so let's just have the true control of the Fang coming in here. I think maybe next thing we'll test is just having a like I mean, obviously if the guy has a melting point and you have a melting point. Actually, I don't know how that would work. I think your melting point would lose because it would get hit by the rockets first, and then the other guy's melting point would hit your factory. So yeah, I don't think we really have to test that. That's where the full composition test is going to come in. It doesn't look like the Fangs really made a difference. Wow. Yeah, like down to the last few Stormcallers, the rockets are basically getting shot up before they even leave the Stormcaller. Okay, so with the Fangs, we figured out that, yes, the War Factory is very good. Let's get the range enhancement here. And range enhancement should be a massacre. I think it should be a massacre at least, because it was a massacre last time. Oh, that entire unit of Fangs going down right away. Fangs are going to stall a little bit. And the War Factory is going to take a huge chunk of damage. Will this range enhancement actually cause the War Factory to go down? Oh, half health. War Factory just got on top of the Stormcallers. Whoa, whoa. So War Factory might not actually protect you from a... Wow. That's crazy. You can beat a War Factory with just an extra unit of Fangs in the front? No, you can't. Oh, you can't. But it's so close. And I'm guessing in a real combat scenario, your War Factory would have died. It's on like 2 health right now. But wow, that is the closest I've seen a War Factory get to getting brought down by Stormcallers. That is crazy. So it can be done. Okay, so now what we gotta do is we're just gonna check out, take this off, put that on. So with Launcher Overload, I don't actually know how much better, because Launcher Overload was actually worse against the Factory because you have to get closer. But maybe with this unit of Fangs, it's not worse? I don't know. That Launcher is definitely overloaded. Oh, but the problem is, these things have 140 range, this thing has 110 range, and it is just gonna start blasting through these Stormcallers. But I would be really surprised if the Stormcallers actually won this fight. I don't think they can win this fight. Yeah, they can't win this fight. Yep, no match. Yeah. Range enhancement is insane against the War Factory. That is crazy. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to test was just the Missile Interceptor turrets. And I think for that, we'll just have to do like a 1-to-1 test. But I'm actually curious, like, at scale, what that would look like. So we'll do 2 tests for these Missile Interceptor turrets. Okay, so since the Missile Interceptor turret can't actually hit anybody, I think what we'll do is we'll have some fangs. Actually, I think we should have 2 units of fangs, because that's 200 resources, 200 minerals, 200 supply, and the Missile Interceptor turret is 100 supply, and in order to unlock Stormcallers, I believe it's, is it 50 to unlock or 100? Actually, I think Stormcallers is 50 to unlock. Oops. Okay. Oh, well. So this is 250 resources. This on this side is 300. It's about the same. I gotta make sure can I un-upgrade this? Can I un-upgrade this? Downgrade. Uh-oh. I can't downgrade. Can I? What is one thing I can do? I don't think that's equivalent, though. Do I have to reset this map? I think I'm going to reset this map just to be safe. Alright, so we're back here. I had to reset the map because I gave this side +1 damage upgrades, and I couldn't undo that. So here we go. Map's reset. Anyways, we're going to test out the Missile Interceptor turret. The the Stormcaller costs like 250 in total, like 50 to unlock, 200 to buy. So this thing costs 100 to buy, and then so I thought it was only fair to have 200 worth of fangs, I guess. I don't know in what situation you would decide to put down a interceptor turret with fangs, but I don't know. We're just gonna use fangs for now because fangs seem to have been the standard unit. I honestly think if we just put down some crawlers, there would be nothing to test because the Stormcallers would be very sad. So we're just gonna test some fangs here. Because the obvious counter to Stormcallers is you just gotta run faster, boys. If you run fast, you can't get hit. So let's see how effective this interceptor turret is. Okay, it's decently effective. It's not as effective as I thought it would be. Okay, less effective on the second volley. But as you can see here, as the fangs get closer, it's, yeah. The closer they get, the less effective the turret is. So obviously the limitation of the turret is that, well, it can't cover the advance completely. It can cover your defense, though. So there is that. Okay. So what I do want to try out is, obviously, if these guys have extra range, is the turret going to be better? So yeah, if these guys have extra range, will the turret be more effective? Let's see it. And then obviously at the very end, we're going to put down an extra Fang unit here to test it out. Okay. Actually, it seems like getting range on Stormcallers just makes them worse against missile interception. Like, the first volley always gets intercepted. Intercepted, sorry. Third volley is less effectively intercepted. And the fourth volley is devastating. Still a few more Fang survivors than before. Ooh. Okay. The turret is only effective, I guess, insofar as you are defending. Okay, so on the other side here, let's try and... let's get this thing launcher overload. And let's see how that performs versus the interceptor turret. My money is willing to bet that the interceptor turret is going to just get obliterated and not stand a chance. Okay, first volley. Okay, lets some through again. Second volley. Okay, even less effective. Third volley. Oh my god. Okay, third volley seems to be equally. Okay, the thing is, the Fangs are getting on top of them. The Fangs actually managing to destroy one of the units there, but interceptor turret seems to be okay. It dealt a bit of it. Like, the Fangs were actually able to get on top of them. That's interesting. That's interesting. So the cover in advanced, the interceptor turrets actually don't seem to be too bad. If you have launcher overload. So what I'm seeing here is that the only situation where you get extended range on your Stormcallers is if you're against a War Factory and you have 1,000,000 Stormcallers. Other than that, it seems like launcher overload just seems to perform better. At least on the micro scale, it seems to perform better. Okay, so let's just go back to here. We're going to summon another unit of Fangs here. Put this in front. And I guess on this side, they are also going to have another unit of Fangs. I don't know where I would put this unit. Maybe I'll put this unit right here. So like in the back. Is that fair? It's not like evenly positioned here. You know what? Let me clear these guys here. Clear. Okay, and we'll just put down some Marine Fangs. So let's just say, there we go. You would never put your Fangs this close together, but let's check out how this one fares. Because, you know, oftentimes there's units in front. I wonder if, like, you know what? If I had 2 missile interceptor turrets, I think that's 100% going to cover it. So first volley's done. There we go. The Fangs are kind of holding the other guys in place. Oh, suddenly it's looking like having units in front does change things a lot. Having no units in front. Ooh. So the missile interceptor turrets might perform a little bit better in a actual like combat scenario because the Fangs were actually able to get on top of them and do significant damage here. They might actually be able to destroy the Stormcaller. They're gonna take down the Stormcaller. Wow. Are they? Oh, also that seemed to be some pretty bad missile RNG. But okay, having units in front with 1 missile interceptor turret seems to do the job. So let's just go here, get the range enhancement, and let's see how that does. Range enhancement versus the missile turret. I guess the only way to test the missile turret obviously is to have other guys in front. So I guess my choice of unit also dictates that a lot. But I think Fang on Fang, they're generally a pretty slow unit. Like if it was a steel ball on steel ball. Okay. Range enhancement. Curious. Range enhancement seems to do better actually in a combat scenario here. Yeah. Range enhancement in like a 1v1 scenario seems to do worse. Oh, these guys are actually too close. Wait, what? Oh, he's shooting directly at that. So in a combat scenario, range enhancement actually is good. That's crazy. But in like a Stormcaller versus the other unit and this seems not as good. Okay, but let's see how much better or worse launcher overload is. Is launcher overload better? Let's see. The first volley almost always gets intercepted, like 100% is what it seems like though. That's consistent. But the effectiveness of interception lowers with every volley. So let's see. In a combat scenario, is launcher overload better? That seems pretty devastating. I think in a combat scenario, launcher overload is still categorically better. Yep. Range enhancement is just horrendous. If you want to get more DPS on your Stormcallers, this is a reminder for myself too. If I want to get more DPS on my Stormcallers, launcher overload seems to always be the better pick. That is crazy. Okay, so now I think we've tested out every single like anti-Stormcaller unit in a vacuum, kind of in a vacuum. Now we're gonna go back to the big boy tests. And God, I haven't even imagined what the big boy tests are gonna look like with weapon upgrades and everything. Let's go do it. Alright, what is up, you beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Mechabellum Mythbusters. Today, we are going to be testing out just how good are anti-rocket units against Stormcallers. Now, I had to think about this for a little bit before I decided that I think this is probably the best way to do this test. So I have it set up so that we have a mirror match here. We got two hammers on this side and 4 units of fangs, facing down 4 units of fangs and 2 hammers. I know it's unrealistic to not have a specialist, but we're just gonna, just for like a true scientific test, no specialist, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is we're probably gonna run this iteration like multiple times. So here's what we're gonna do. On the other side, that's gonna have the Stormcallers. I'm gonna put 4 Stormcallers and then have 1,000 supply that they can have access to. And on this side, oh my god, if the arrows will work. On this side, I'm either gonna have this guy have 2 fortresses, 2 scorpions, or 4 marksmen. And then on top of that, you will either have fortress and factory, fortress and stang, fortress and sabertooth, and fortress and just the placeable missile interceptor turrets. And I'm going to repeat that combination multiple times with the scorpions and with the marksmen. I don't know if that's the best way to test it. This could lead to like billions of permutations. And because like in a realistic battlefield scenario, yes, a war factory by itself is going to obliterate your Stormcallers. But like what happens if the Stormcaller guy has a melting point, right? So I want to test that out as well. So yeah, enough of me yapping. Let me just, I guess, set it up for you. Okay, I also wanted to test out for the Stormcaller side some sort of permutations that they might use against your formation. Because obviously, since you have 1,000 supply to access, this side should also have 1,000 supply to access. Okay, so one of the permutations I want to test out is, what if the Stormcaller side got range on Stormcallers as well as range on the hammers and 3 units of crawlers? So range equals to 600 for the tanks and the Stormcallers combined, and then 3 crawlers means 300 supply and 50 supply on the mass recruitment. So I'm going to test out this permutation first into the fortress, into the scorpion, and into the marksman. This is actually going to create like 5 bajillion permutations. So I'm gonna have to do like an Excel sheet and organize it. Anyways, and then the crawlers. After I've tested out all the crawlers, I'm gonna test out what if this side decided to go 3 units of wasp instead, or another permutation is 2 melting points, unlocking the melting point costing 200, and then putting 2 of them down, 400, 400. And then the final iteration is them getting 3 more Stormcallers, which is 600 supply, and getting range. So that's 900 supply plus the 50 to use the mass recruitment. So yeah, we're about to have like almost 1,000 simulations here. No, well, not 1,000, probably close to 100, but yeah. All right, so I have it set up here. So for our first test, okay, I think it's gonna be more efficient this way if I just go test stangs paired with fortresses all the way first. So here we go. On the other side, I have 4 Stormcallers here, which is equivalent in supply to the double fortress, right? So that's 400, 400. Actually, it's not quite equivalent because I didn't account for the unlock cost of the fortress. Because I think Stormcaller unlock is only 100. Science. Anyways, I might have to rethink my formula here, but you know what? Screw it. We're just going to go with this here. And I think technically equivalent, we're going to have 3 units of Mustangs. So that's 600 minerals, plus the 50 that you would have paid for mass recruitment. So that's 650. And then plus the unlock takes us to 850. And I think for that, actually, I think that would probably be fine because like I think it balances out the fortress's unlock cost of 200. You still have 150 unspent resources, theoretically speaking. Well, technically, the fortress costs 200 unlock. So we're actually over resources on this side by like around 50 supply. But that's okay. So I'm just trying to figure out where to place these stangs here. And then we're going to test them against crawlers in the back. Okay. Stangs have a tendency to just get obliterated. I think if I want the stangs to have missile interceptor, I don't want to place them too far back. Now, obviously, this test is also reliant on how good I am at positioning my units here. Hold on, let's do the test here. Let's make sure the stangs have their missile interceptor within 150 meters. I think that's good enough. 150 meters, this is 95, so that means they'll cover everything in front of them. That being said, if the Stangs drive up too early, they are going to be in trouble. So I think probably right about here would be okay. I think that should still be able to cover them. Okay, so we got 3 units of Stangs covering against 4 units of Stormcallers. Yeah. Okay, I actually went back and did the math, and I think we're actually exactly even, because it actually costs 50 minerals to unlock the Stang. So we have only like 100 unspent minerals, and then like, so technically we're negative 100 with the fortress, but then this side spent an extra 100, so I think it should balance out. I don't know, maybe I'll do like a big little spreadsheet at the end to organize everything and make sure all the economics is like arranged. And also I realized, like, we're gonna run this test, is that I should have probably seen how efficient one Stormcaller unit is to one Stang, and so on and so forth. So I might go ahead and like cut to that part first, and maybe you guys might have seen that first, and then you guys will be seeing this. I don't know how I'm gonna organize it, but all I do know is, since I have this all set up, we're gonna jump into the test and see what happens. So let's see. These guys have their range upgrades, and then these Stangs here are all ready to intercept. Okay. Ooh, that's not looking too good here. The Stangs are on top. Everybody's stacked up here. Well, the units of Stangs do seem to be quite efficient up until they're not, because most of them have died off now. Ooh, and the extra range on the tanks here. The fortresses are definitely offering a lot of support here. Ooh, I think that might be enough. That might be enough. The fortresses are here. Okay, the Stangs are somewhat intercepting. Ooh, but the fortress going down. We only have the Stangs here. There we go. Stang's not doing quite so well into this. Okay, we are back. So I set it up to mirror essentially the exact setup I had from the first test. So I think actually, since we tested the Stang permutation, I want to test the Stang permutation into extended range. I want to test both of those, extended range as well as launcher overload. So I'm going to give these Stormcallers extended range. This is the same layout as before. We have the fortresses and we have the Stangs, and then we're going to test the next iteration, which is the launcher overload, and then we're going to switch out the crawlers, and we're going to put in some wasps, and we're going to see how that looks. So let's do it. So we're going to start this up here. Last time, I think they won. Ooh, did I put my Stangs a little bit further back last time? Uh-oh. Well, let's see here. So 3 Stangs into 4 Stormcallers. They're going to leak some missiles, but I think that's at acceptable losses here. The Stangs are just going to chew everything up. Actually, I think last time the Stormcallers won. So actually with extended range, I think you have to go 1 for 1 with Stangs to Stormcallers. So maybe my test here is not exactly fair. Yeah, it doesn't seem like my test here is exactly fair. But I mean, in a battlefield scenario, you probably might get caught with your pants down, and you're like, oh god, this guy got 2 units of Stormcallers, maybe I can weather the storm. And then suddenly you're like, uh-oh, he's got 2 more units of Stormcallers, what am I gonna do? But yeah, here, let's speed this up here a little bit. Okay, tower going down could be humongous here. Extended range actually seems to just make things worse, because the Stormcallers didn't get, like, beat up this badly last time. If I remember correctly, they suffered basically no casualties. Okay, so now what if the Stormcallers, instead of extended range, they have launcher overload? So let's see how that performs against 3 units of Stangs. I mean, we already know, like, baseline how that performs, 1-to-1. Launcher overload is insane, except against War Factory. But in a battlefield scenario, what would that look like? So Stormcallers are super close here. They are just going to pelt this front line with missiles. And the crawlers are coming up. If the Stangs are hitting... Oh, the crawler is actually making contact because the Stangs are too busy shooting at the air units here. Or, I mean, shooting at the missiles. Wow. Launcher overload was devastating against the Stangs. I don't think I need to test wasps, because I think I know what's going to happen if we put out some wasps. But I think for science, I would like to test out some wasps. There's just one Stang left here. Yeah, Launcher Overload just seems to be the best Stormcaller upgrade. I think that's the only conclusion we can draw, unless you're facing a War Factory. But then against the War Factory, I'm pretty sure if you just go Launcher Overload and Extended Range, all your problems are solved. Okay, so for science, we're going to come back on this side here. Now I'm going to set it up here. We're going to get rid of this. This is going to be such a thorough test. I'm going to like have everything tested like through the roof. So on this side, we're just going to have 3 units of wasps. Oh, I realized I forgot the permutation. I messed with the permutation formula, actually. Uh-oh. You know what? Screw the equivalency. Screw the equivalency just a little bit. Because technically, I think I should have given this side enhanced range sledgehammers as well. But it just so happens that range enhancement and launcher overload are the same price. So, yeah. Let's just test this one here. Let's, like, if they have wasps. But I guess then, in this case, they're 300... They're 300 resources, like 300 supply down on this side if I don't give them 300 something else. So, you know what? I think it's fine. We'll have these guys be on a 300 supply deficit. So technically, the other side has more, like, supply worth of guys. But can Stormcallers still win it for them with some wasps here? So, same thing. We got the same setup here with the Mustangs. I'm gonna test it all 3 times. So we're gonna have the wasps. Next round, we're gonna have the extended range, and finally have the launcher overload. And maybe there's a pairing for Mustangs that just work better than the Fortress, for example. Like maybe if I paired it up with the Scorpion, which is what I want to test as well, it would work better. Because like if you see this many tanks, like Scorpion does seem to make sense. So Wasps are coming in here. They are probably going to attract the attention of the Stangs. Okay. Okay. Huh. I think the Crawlers actually seem to have performed better. The Crawlers actually performed better. The Wasps didn't really do much into the stand. I thought the Wasps would actually shake things up a bit, like, would actually be better. But Crawlers, I think, were actually better. They were actually a better chaff unit. That being said, these guys were down 300 supply. So maybe that might have something to do with it. So let's test the range here. So now we're even in supply. So let's go testing ground. Ooh, let's just start it up here. Even supply now. Or like roughly even. Like the disparity is very, very small. Extended range here should be pretty good. Still an upgrade to like no range upgrades. Wasps are going to start closing in at around the same time the volleys come out. Oh no, but the Wasps are getting chewed up. The missile volley, the missiles always take precedent over the Wasps. So that was still seems a little disappointing here. Because I guess extended range doesn't actually double DPS, but the Fortress actually went down on the left. Ooh, but extended range, I think is still just a little much. Is just much stronger here. Yep. Extended range just demolishes this. Now I want to know what launcher overload does to this, and then we're gonna swap out the Wasps after. So switch sides over here. So let's see, we've got the extended range, take that off, launcher overload, switch over, and let's see what happens here. I don't actually know what's going to happen. I'm willing to bet that launcher overload just completely obliterates this. But let's see it on video here. So there we go, rocket barrage, gonna get stopped here. But another barrage comes in, and another barrage comes in. But the Wasps have entered the fight, and the Wasps are just pummeling these guys. The best part is the fortresses can't actually hit the Wasps. Like, obviously you can get the anti-air upgrade, but let's say they pull Wasps on you, right? Wow, that was devastating. What I'm learning is launcher overload is insane, and you should always get it. If you're gonna get Stormcallers, you have to get launcher overload. Otherwise, you're just trolling. Okay, so now we're gonna switch the Wasps out here for a unit that somebody might get when they see someone put down some fortresses, and that's some melting points. I'm gonna put the melting points in the exact same position here. So this should be even supply. I think roughly even supply. And everything's like in a symmetrical formation here. So let's see this happen. And then afterwards, I need to remember what the other permutations are. I think melting points is the last permutation. No, the one last final permutation is just getting more Stormcallers on the other side. So the melting point here seems to not be that great. Chaff clear. You know what? I think the melting points are actually probably the worst thing, because there's too much chaff. There's too much chaff, actually. The melting point can't get a lock on the fortress. So ironically, getting more chaff for your Stormcallers might have been the play. But the melting points are quite tanky, so like they do occupy the front line for quite some time here. So this is like kind of like not only just Stormcaller Mythbuster, but also like Formation Mythbuster. And mind you, this was even supply. So wow. More chaff sometimes is better. I mean, to be fair, this side doesn't really have that much chaff clear in comparison. But yeah, like if you remember the Wasp one where they were actually down 300 supply, it was just as close as when they were even supply, but without the chaff. I guess this is also a lesson in how important chaff is. Okay, so now with the melting points here, let's just make things a little bit uneven now by giving these guys a bit of a range enhancement. And let's see how that fares. Now, supply-wise, this side is advantaged, the melting point side, but I'm still curious because they actually, yeah. I'm pretty sure with the launcher overload, like they're just going to obliterate, but it would just be nice to see that as well. The increased range here does mean that this side has to like stay stationary for a bit longer here. But the increased range also means that more of the chaff is getting destroyed faster. Chaff in the form of Mustangs. Oh, the melting point has a lock on this fort. Oh, yeah, he is locked on the fortress. The fortress is being locked down, and the melting point on the right, just sending it here. Gonna burn through that tank. Wow, a bit of range already makes things a bit better. I can only imagine what launcher overload's gonna do in this situation here. Whee! I think the melting point is probably gonna win it here. Just, yeah, there we go. Okay, that was still like a bit of a closer fight. Now let's switch over here and let's just test this out here. So take that, launcher overload, swap it over. What happens? What happens when you got launcher overload? And then after we run through all these tests, we're just gonna go and set up some more Stormcallers on the other side and see what happens. So launcher overload means less rockets out early, so initial contact is gonna be a little bit harsher. So actually, I think with launcher overload, you might actually want more chaff. Yeah, because the melting points are starting to just get pummeled here. But the rate at which the rockets are coming out is starting to make up for it. Melting point has a lock on both fortresses. Ooh, both fortresses going down. This was a massacre. Yes. Confirmed. Launcher overload is insane. Okay. So that's the last iteration for this side. Now let's just get rid of the melting points, and we're going to test out. This guy really loves his Stormcallers. Let's say that. Okay, I'm going to take out the unit attack here. So, in terms of equivalence, this guy gets 3 more Stormcallers. He's like, you know what? Screw it. Stormcaller carry. And I think... is this a good place to put him? That's not even, though. Ah, whatever. Stormcaller carry. So this side gets 3 more Stormcallers. So it's... I don't even know if I really need to test this, but for supply equivalency reasons, let's just check it out here. That's 1,000 supply worth of Stormcallers. But let's see here. Because let's say like you fell behind by 1 round. You know, you're like, oh, I didn't get my Mustangs to counter yet. Looks like a massacre here. But I don't think 3 to 7 is really gonna matter here. I will be quite honest. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a massacre. Fortress is getting kind of close though. The Mustangs are basically permanently on anti-rocket duty. So I guess if you're ahead in the Stormcaller game, it's valid to go more Stormcallers or some more chaff. Getting a melting point seems to be a bit of a risk though, if your opponent has a fortress. I'm not even going to bother testing launcher overload and extended range. I think it's going to be quite obvious what's going to happen. They're going to die. They are going to die. So, okay. So that's the Mustang Fortress combination. Let's set it up for the Mustang... Oh, God. What should I do next? You know what? I'm going to test all the Fortress combinations first. So we're going to go Fortress and Sabertooth this time. So I think, according to the math here, the only way you can pick up a Sabertooth is like you randomly get it for free. Well, not for free, but you get it for like some amount of minerals. And I think like 100 minerals gets you like a level 3 Sabertooth, I think, from the drop. So let's say you have 1 level 3 Sabertooth, and then you bought 3 more Sabertooths, so you got 4 Sabertooths, and it costs 200 to get the Missile Interceptor. So that's 100 plus 200 plus 600, so that's 900, and you paid 50 to get the unlock, extra unlock. So that is going to be 950 resources. So I'm just going to go delete, 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 and we are going to send down a Sabertooth here. 1 more Sabertooth, and 1, 2, 3. Where would a sane person place these Sabertooths? Ugh, that's a lot of splat. Probably like here, maybe. I don't know. Like here and like here. Or would I place them like this? Actually, that might be okay. Okay, so I'm going to switch them around here. So now we're going to try out Sabertooths combined with Fortresses. Does that do well? Okay. And then we're just going to remove this guy, and this guy. Let's see. Okay, so now in this iteration, and then we're going to have crawlers. There we go. Where are the crawlers? 1, 2, 3. Crawlers are back. Hello. Crawlers in the back. I think also where your crawlers are placed is going to be key. If your crawlers are placed where your fangs were, I don't think they will do nearly as well. But yeah, I honestly think just having the more chaff option definitely seems to be good. Okay, so let's just test this out here. So this is the Sabertooth test run now. And starting off, we're going to have the crawlers. And these guys are going to be lower on supply, I think, still. But let's see. Lower on supply. I think I could fix the lower supply by just putting down some like barriers or something. But I'm curious. We'll see like extra range next and launcher overload next. So Sabertooths are here. There's 4 Sabertooths to 4 Stormcallers. Wow, no more chaff left here. Sabertooth Splash is going to be a little bit sus. I think what this is highlighting is just how effective chaff is. Like, chaff held these guys in place for a long time. Boom, boom, boom. But the Sabertooths are going to pull through here. Much better than the Mustangs, actually. I think that's actually not surprising. Yeah, Sabertooth's just going to crush it here. Okay, now we're gonna test with the launcher overload here. What's how that's gonna work out? Switch sides, bada bing. Not launcher, but range enhancement. And let's start with range enhancement and some crawlers. How do these guys do into the Sabertooth Fortress combo? Oh my god, my mic almost got obliterated there. Ooh, the Fang column here just getting obliterated. That's why you should never put your Fangs in a column if you're against Stormcallers. This time, actually, the range enhancement is having noticeable effects. In the sense that Sabertooths have gone down, and they haven't even gotten close yet. But I won't be surprised if Launcher Overload just does better. Ooh. Actually, with range enhancement, I think the Mustangs lost. Was I correct with that? I need to go back and check the video, but you guys can probably pause the video and recognize that. I'll probably make a list at the very end just to categorize what happened. Okay, so let's switch over here and let's change this to Launcher Overload. Now, if Launcher Overload can't beat this, then it's a sign that Sabertooths are just a better unit than Stangs. But then again, I have 4 Sabertooths instead of 4 Stangs. I only have 3 Stangs. So maybe that's also an unfair test that is coming out here. But if the Launcher Overload manages to beat the Sabertooths, then that's also indicative that Sabertooths are better than Stangs. Oh, actually, maybe it's not indicative. Okay. Okay. Also, I think that one level 3 Sabertooth there is really holding the line. It's basically like another fortress. But the Launcher Overload did do significantly better here. Yeah, it did significantly better. So I'm wondering if the Mustang test should be thrown out, because I only have 3 Mustangs. Like, it's not a 1-to-1 test. You know what? Let's just push on ahead here. Okay, so let's just come over here. We're gonna go over here. Let's remove that. And let's go clear this, clear this, clear this. Okay. Actually, I think if I do a Wasp test, the Wasp would just win because of the fact that, you know, these guys have no anti-air. So maybe I don't do the Wasp test here. Let's just do the melting point test. So, bam, bam. Yeah, I think it wouldn't be fair to test the Wasps here. Because I think all results will point to the Wasps easily destroying everybody. So I think the Wasp test only makes sense for the Mustangs. So that'll actually have less permutations then. So let's just have the melting points here. And everything else is vanilla. So more chaff was good. So I don't think having less chaff is good in this case. Or like at least having any chaff clear. And if the chaff clear was the Stormcallers, I think in this scenario, wow. Okay. Yeah, the melting points just are performing worse, I think. But this Sabertooth does like heavily bias the situation here. You know what? I think I gotta do a retest. Because like usually with the unit drops, the other side also gets something for free. Okay, let's rerun these tests before we get too far. I think we gotta rerun these tests. Okay, I think I have this hypothetical situation set up a little better. So let's say you picked up the unit card for Sabertooths and they give you 2 level 2 Sabertooths. I think that should be equivalent to, so that's 300 each, and so maybe you pay an extra 100, so you pay 700. And then on the other side, they picked up a melting point for level 2 and they paid 100. So I think that should be equal. And so this melting point is going to be part of this composition, you know, for the rest of the test. I have it in the middle because for symmetry's sake, but I think like in a realistic scenario, they would probably put it like on one side and, you know, favor one flank. So now let's test out the crawler situation now that I think we are almost at equivalency in terms of minerals here. Roughly equivalent. So let's see it here. Bonk, bonk, bonk. So now this one is the crawler test. Let's see here. So, and these Sabertooths being level 2, I think, would probably have a big difference, a huge impact, because they obviously have less health. Melting Point is starting to lock on here. Yeah, the chaff differential is definitely insane. Yep, I think now it's probably a fairer test because of the extra income. Because I realize when you pick up a unit card, you don't just pick up the Sabertooth by itself. You pick it up with something else. And if you added a melting point into the mix, I think it's showing that the melting point is really good. I think this is also going to showcase just how complex it is to really like test everything in Mechabellum, because I'm having a hard time processing the permutations right now. But you can see here the melting point pickup is game changing. Okay. You know what? Then for the sake of science, what if instead of the... I know this is not like what would normally happen, but let's just say they picked up some higher level Stormcallers instead. And we call that a day. Because I think the melting point is just gonna screw with the test to no end. The double melting points that we had here definitely just obliterated everything. Actually, then that means there's probably less test permutations than I thought of. So, I might have to rethink this. Or maybe I just have to revisit this strategy, like this sort of test thing, because like it is mind-bogglingly complex. So maybe I didn't want to release a part 2, but I think I'm gonna have to release a part 2 on this. I guess the most useful information is gonna be in the first half of this video. You know, like the one-to-one breakpoints. But once you start mixing in these ingredients, man, like things get complicated. So I will have to revisit this, and I am going to. I would love your guys' input as well, in terms of like how I could do like a good experimental test for this, because I'm struggling to really envision like how would I create a realistic scenario. Like I was like, this is probably a realistic scenario, but then I realized, oh my god, there's so many other factors. Plus, we're not even factoring specialists too, so I'm just like, oh, insane. Anyways, I hope you guys found this informative and helpful. I know now that Launcher Overload is just really good, and I should always get it if I'm going for mass Stormcallers, because there's almost no situation where it's bad, except when there's a War Factory. But then if there's a War Factory, I just gotta get extended range, and that would completely pummel it. Actually, you know what? I feel like it is a crime not to figure out if extended range... I gotta switch sides, Lamau. I think it is a crime to not see and figure out if I go extended range and Launcher Overload, if that will be able to defeat a War Factory. So let's just end the episode off like that. I haven't even added the Scorpions that I wanted to test. Like we've just been going with the Fortress so far. But let's say you just have one gigantic War Factory here. Oh god, no symmetry, whatever. One War Factory here. Switch sides over here. Since we're not doing the Sabertooth, we don't have to do the pickup. So let's just do that. Let's just do that. You know what? Let's actually do the War Factory test, and then we'll end the video at that point. We'll test the War Factory out. This should be equivalent, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 1,000 resources here. I didn't actually know this is not equivalent because I didn't give the other side the 600 resources it's owing. But yeah, I'm curious now. Let's see. So one War Factory versus these 4. I think a War Factory has been shown to be able to easily destroy 5 Stormcallers worth of missiles. So there's that too. So yeah, it seems like there's definitely no contest here, especially because the other side is down 600 supply. But I mean, in a Mechabellum game, like there are situations where you might be down supply because you took a loan earlier and stuff like that. Let's see here. So yeah, the War Factory is going to cover the advance of this fortress on the right. I mean, on the left. Lamau directions. Okay. And now I'm going to equalize the supply here. Switch over. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm just going to go adjust unit tech. So we'll get the range enhancement. I think that should almost equalize the supply. There's still like 300 supply down, but now they have range enhancement with the factory here. I think with the Mustang test, it was a true equal supply, whereas with the Sabertooth test, I don't think that was an equalized supply test. I think here, it's also still not an equal supply test either. So, yeah. Wow, the results are actually kind of pretty... Like this, the other side is still down 300 supply. And... Yeah, actually with the extended range, like... They are getting pummeled pretty badly here. The extra chaff didn't seem to do much at all. Fortress, 2 fortresses survive. Yeah, extended range just is bad against the War Factory, because now more fortresses survived than before. So extended range is a nerf against the War Factory, and that still seems to be confirmed even in the battlefield scenario. Granted, this side is missing some supply, so maybe I should have just given them some attack upgrades. But yeah. Now I want to see what this scenario looks like with just launcher overload and what it looks like with both launcher overload and range enhancement. So I'm going to give them just this now and then see if that changes things. Because I think the range enhancement was supposed to be better against the War Factory, but you need like 5 units of these guys. Let's see here. So I do want to test the melting point Stormcaller combo, but I think that combo just is going to get taken out by the lack of chaff clear on the other side. Oh, but the crawler's getting through on the other side here. Launcher overload actually kind of good in this scenario. It was bad in a 1v1 against the factory, but in a battlefield scenario, the launcher overload actually still seems to be the better pick. The fortress goes down. The other fortress is like pretty low. And mind you, the other side is still on a 300 supply deficit. So like if I gave them an extra Stormcaller, they might have actually won this one. So actually, it just seems to keep on proving that launcher overload is good. Is better than range enhancement. Alright, experimental data shows. Okay, now what does experimental data show of when you put 2 of them together? I've actually haven't even tested this combo on any other unit, but I think the only unit that makes sense to test it against is the War Factory. Extended range and launcher overload. What happens in this scenario? And I think the chaff scenario is probably the best one, just extra crawlers here. But I do want to see if I just added 3 more Stormcallers, so that it's like equivalency that way, but like less frontline. What would happen in that scenario? Let's see. With extended range and the launcher overload, wow, I think you can overwhelm a War Factory this way if you have enough chaff, because you need the chaff to pin him in place. The key with the Stormcallers is chaff. Wow. So I think you can beat a War Factory with extended range and launcher overload. I think that is the way. Actually, I don't even know if you can beat it, because it's getting closer and closer here. It's like slowly creeping up. It's like creeping death here. It's certainly half health of these guys. I mean, it's half health of the War Factory, but the War Factory is probably going to clean house here, actually. That's crazy. War Factory is nuts. Okay, you know what? To end off the video here, let's just throw all the science out the window, because at this point I realize the equivalency is like not there, and I think I need to like recalculate and recalibrate to really figure out what the equivalency is supposed to be. And so I'm just gonna put in 3 more units of Stormcallers here, and so can 7 units of super jacked up Stormcallers here beat up this War Factory, and we're gonna end the video here. This part is completely unscientific. I don't know how you would find yourself in a situation like this in the game, but if you do find yourself in a situation like this somehow and you have not lost already, congratulations, you're a tactical genius, and your formation should not look like this, and you should definitely not have bought fortresses. Wow. And you know what would be crazy? The crazy part is if the War Factory can still beat this. Because if that's true, my god, is the War Factory a good unit against the Stormcaller. The War Factory is actually struggling a little bit here, but I'm pretty sure you know... Oh, wow. If there's one way to beat a War Factory, here it is. You just gotta bury it. So this is 7... That's like, what, 1,400 minerals or supply spent on Stormcallers. On top of their upgrades, which is like 300 and another 500. So it's 2,200 supply spent on Stormcallers. To beat 1,200 supplies spent on a War Factory. Just goes to show that actually Stormcallers are decently hard to counter. Like this one Scorpion could easily take out like twice its supply in tanks. So yeah, one War Factory could not take out twice its supply in Stormcallers, at least in a battlefield situation. In a sterile environment, I think you could probably easily take out twice its supply in Stormcallers. And you know what? I will experiment with that in another video. If you guys enjoyed this Mythbuster video, be sure to leave a like. Keep your ideas flowing in terms of what you would like to see. I already have a few ideas that have been granted to me, so thank you very much. And honestly, this was a video that like I didn't even think about, and I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually really good. Like, it would be good to like see what the breakpoints are. So yeah, let me know if you guys have like a more scientific way of testing this, because I would love to hear it. Because I don't think I'm too good at thinking probabilistically and like in terms of permutations. But then again, like most humans aren't. But you know, if you have more of a math mind than I do, I have like a decent mathematical mind, but like it's definitely not out there and up there. But yeah, let me know. And yeah, stay tuned for more. If you guys are new here, drop a sub, and thank you for staying till the end of the video. If you have stayed till the end of the video. Until next time, I will see you guys later.
In the rear with the gear.
The tires, let's light some fires.
Need a light. They picked the wrong